I'm taking some time this month to honor the 50th anniversary of the end of the Vietnam War, especially to tell stories from April 29th and 30th, 1975, the Fall of Saigon. These were the final hours of U.S. involvement in Vietnam and the beginning of a new life for thousands of Vietnamese citizens who fled their homeland. And this is a story I've heard over the years that never fails to move me, not because it's tragic, but because of the incredible humanity, compassion, and courage that was shown on the USS Midway during Operation Frequent Wind. Operation Frequent Wind remains the largest helicopter evacuation in history, as the U.S. Navy carried out a 30-hour mission to evacuate Vietnamese allies and civilians from Saigon to the carrier. Towards the end of the operation, a small two-seat Cessna, a bird dog, was seen flying overhead. The pilot of that bird dog made a few attempts at dropping a note onto the carrier. Finally, one landed on the deck with the message: "Can you please move the helicopters to the other side of the ship so I can land on your runway? I can fly 1 hour more. We have enough time to move. Please rescue me. Major Buang Lee, wife, and 5 child." Captain Lawrence Chambers, commanding officer of the Midway, was immediately informed of this situation, and he had to make a quick decision. He knew the bird dog could not land with all the helicopters on deck, even if he had moved them. He also knew that family would be lost at sea if he didn't take action. So despite protocol, Captain Chambers made the decision to save this family. He ordered his crew to push off 4 Hueys and 1 Chinook to make room for an attempted landing aboard the Midway, a seemingly impossible task for a small airplane. But the plan worked. After a couple passes, Major Buang Lee landed safely. In an interview with KPBS, USS Midway Air Boss Vern Jumper remembers this story. After he landed, the major and his wife jumped out of the cockpit, pulled the backseat forward, and out-tumbled all these little kids. 5 little kids they had. She was holding a baby in her arms when he landed. When he landed, my flight deck crew and all the other guys who were working on the flight deck, in the squadrons and the ship's company, ran out there. And they were hooping and hollering and making so much noise. They were so proud, so glad they saved this family. By the end of the mission, the USS Midway crew pushed more than $10 million worth of helicopters and equipment off deck, all to help evacuate over 3,100 refugees, including this one family. Major Buang Lee and his family went on to start a new life in Florida as U.S. citizens. In 1989, they had the opportunity to reunite with Admiral Lawrence Chambers, who honorably and heroically served in the U.S. Navy from 1952 to 1984, retiring as a Rear Admiral. The USS Midway was decommissioned in 1992. She is now a museum ship in San Diego, California. One aircraft that was not pushed overboard that day was Major Lee's bird dog. The crew kept it. It is now on display at the National Naval Aviation Museum in Pensacola, Florida. This historical story is an example of what leadership looks like when guided by empathy, not ego or protocol. It's also a reminder that doing the right thing may come at a cost, but worth the risk. And it shows us that how in moments of chaos, acts of courage and humanity can change the course of someone's life. And as a Vietnamese refugee myself, I want to thank Captain Larry Chambers and the crew of the USS Midway for your humanity, your courage and kindness, and saving the lives of so many South Vietnamese families.